Well, y'all, spring has sprung, and we have a garden. I've been posting a couple of YouTube shorts here and there, trying to document some of the little updates along the way of what we've been doing with the garden. And so I am very happy to announce that we have a lot of sprouts that are now in ground or in a box. And so what our current setup looks like right now is we have one small rectangular box garden. We have two equal sized box gardens in a square shape, and then we have the elevated box garden that I so nicely assembled in one of my videos. The first rectangular box garden is one that I started first, actually. It was back in like January or February when I was kind of panicking about my winter plants not happening. So what's in that first rectangular box garden are two pea vines. There were two lettuce plants, and then there were two kale plants. The two lettuce plants are not doing very well, but the kale ones are taking off. So this little rectangular box garden has basically the last-ditch effort of making like a winter garden. That's where those plants went. It's also in a much more shaded area, which I'm hoping is going to be beneficial because I don't want it to get eviscerated by the sun. Something about kale makes me feel like it's very prone to getting wilted, but it's doing pretty good so far. I also put that chicken wire over it. One thing I didn't foresee, or am not sure how I'm gonna deal with it yet, is that the pea plant is a vine and it's coming through the chicken wire. I think that's gonna be fine. If anything, it'll like weave with it, but it could run into an issue later when I have to like lift up the chicken wire to get the kale. We'll get there when we get there, okay? So next to the rectangular box with all the winter plants, I put in 4 cucumber plants. I sprouted those indoors. What's really nice is they like sprout indoors in like a week, and they're pretty strong stem plants, so putting them in ground, I wasn't worried about them getting like dug up or them getting eviscerated by the sun or whatever conditions, because in Texas it's like, oh, it's freezing cold, oh, it's raining, oh, it's 80 degrees, oh, it's 90 degrees. Like, the weather's so unpredictable. So like what I like about cucumbers is that they're very hearty, and so they're like really easy to plant, and they're one of my favorites. That soil is basically a mixture of a garden soil that I got from Lowe's like a long time ago. I just had so much of it. I mixed that in with the horse manure that I had because I had a good amount left over. So that box garden has horse manure, fertilized soil, and then I put the 4 cucumber plants in there. What I did to prevent weeds and grass, because y'all know I hate grass, and y'all know it just finds its way into everything I try to do. I did basically a plastic like landscaping fabric, and then I cut holes where each plant was, large enough towards where when I water them, it'll water like the surrounding area a little bit, but trying to suppress weeds and grass from coming up, because if I don't, it's constantly competing for space in that box garden, so that's why it looks like that. You can put additional soil on top of the landscaping fabric. It probably looks a lot nicer. The reason I just planted cucumbers in that box is because in the past, I tried to grow cucumbers in the same box as a tomato plant, and because a cucumber is a vine plant, its vines started to like wrap around the tomato plants and basically like choked it out. And the tomato plant didn't end up growing until the cucumber plant died. Tomato plants are pretty resilient, but I just didn't want that to happen again. Our third box is butternut squash. So I have 2 of these sprouts. When it comes to types of soil, that's something I want to explore in the future, but right now it's just what I had. It's probably not the most recommended one, but I'm trying to like not go out and purchase things unnecessarily and trying to use what I had. So that's what I had. I'm sure I can find a picture of it and put it up somewhere. But yeah, so it's horse manure and this fertilized soil, and then I just put 2 in there, and then I put a fabric, or I'm going to put a fabric the same way I did for the cucumber plants. I just have to go out and do it. It's been raining quite a bit, and this is our first sunny day, and instead of doing that, I'm making this video. Our last but certainly not least box is our elevated box garden. The elevated box garden is the one that I use the lasagna method for. If you did not watch that video, I recommend going and taking a look. 1, because I think it's fun, but 2, if you don't know what it is, it's a really interesting concept. In that one, I chose to put 3 tomato plants in there. Tomatoes suck the nutrients out of soil like crazy. If you've ever planted tomatoes, you'll know when you're done and you pull those tomatoes out of the garden, like the whole plant, the soil is like this gray dust. Because the lasagna garden is so dense in nutrients, that's why I chose to put the tomato plants in there, because they need the nutrients. And then the other reason is because they're not vine plants necessarily, not in the same way that the squash and the cucumbers are. When it comes to like cucumbers, if I were to plant it in the tall garden bed, they would like spill out. Tomatoes relatively grow upwards, and because the fruit is not so heavy, I think it's gonna be fine in that box. So all in all, things are going really well. I'm very happy with the way things are headed. I am very surprised that the kale is still not wilting. I think Texas weather is just so crazy. Like, we've been having so much rain, which I think has been good for the garden. I was a little afraid that it was going to be such hard rain that it was just going to obliterate everything, like pelt it to death or something. But it's actually been pretty good. The weather seems kind of nice. I think we're done with frost, so hopefully it's easy here on out. Most of these plants, with the exception of the peas and the kale, will do well in spring and in summer. So I think we're headed in a very good direction, and I'm very excited to see what comes.